our Nagaland government doesn't have enough job for those people in that particular area. And maybe that's the reason why Nagaland is not developing. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, the Purple Page. So I hope you're all doing good, and I'm pretty sure that by looking at the title you must be aware about what I'm gonna talk today. And yes, today I'm gonna share about the most common mistake that we the Nagas we make in general. And those common mistakes that we make is not something that is alien to our Naga society. Every one of us, we are well aware of that. And I'm not saying that making mistake is wrong. Of course, we learn from our own mistakes. But my point is, how long will you make the same mistakes again and again until you lose all your hopes? In our Naga society, sometimes, these old mistakes have become so traditional and it has embedded so much into our culture that we don't realize that it is wrong or it is a mistake. And we keep making the same mistake. And the other person follows the same mistake again. So today I'm gonna share those mistakes so that we will learn, we will realize, we will reflect, and we will retrospect on that. So straight to the point, the first is gender stereotyping. Actually, I'm very proud of our Naga parents for encouraging a girl child to go to school equally as a boy child. But the problem starts when we started stereotyping about a girl child as they get matured. We think that a girl will get married off to a family and there will be a mother, there will be a wife very soon, so they don't need higher education. So we always think that just a graduation is enough for them. But that is a very old traditional mindset and a very narrow mindset, I should say, because we should never stop a child irrespective of gender. We should allow them to pursue their dreams, their goal, because it is their future. I know our parents are really concerned about their own children, but we should also have a mutual respect about the decision of our children. This is not for the people, especially the daughter or women who are not interested in higher education. I'm not forcing anyone here, but if you are really interested, then you should go for it. I mean, we Nagas, we have a lot of financial problems, and I really agree with that, but financial problems should not be the reason for you to stop pursuing your dream. It is just an excuse. There are lots of scholarship that is available today for people who are struggling economically, and if you have a will, then you should strive for it. You should go for it, because just because you are a woman, that should not be the reason to stop you from pursuing higher education. So I will really encourage our dear sisters and Naga women to really go forward for higher studies if that is your dream, and gender should not be the problem here. The second point is about choosing a field or a stream. I know our Naga parents are really concerned about choosing a stream for our daughter and son, and we are very fond of and we value streams like science and commerce because they end up in a prestigious job like a doctor, engineer, working in bank, and which is of course a really good earning. But what I want to convey here is that for students who are interested, and if your parents have a vision for you, and if that is a mutual, then you can go ahead. I will really appreciate that. But for people who are not interested but the parents have a high vision for you, but actually if you think you can't do it, then don't force yourself. You should have a mutual agreement with your parents, because at the end of the day, it is not about how much you earn or where you work. It is about how satisfied you are where you are working, and whether you are able to commit yourself to the work, whether the society and the community are benefited through your involvement in that job, and that matters the most. Every work is important. One cannot devalue any work, because one cannot be happier than exercising your own skills in the most efficient way. So dear parents, let us stop forcing our children to choose a stream just because you have a strong vision for them, or maybe you are too concerned for them. but this will only mislead your child and their future. And one thing to add up is when it comes to theological studies, especially we Naga parents, we love theological studies and we really emphasize on that, at least to send one among our family, or maybe sometimes two, or we always choose the child who is the most dullest. If you think your child cannot pursue arts, science or commerce, and if you think they cannot study, then you think that it's best to send for theological study. But remember, God asks for the best among the best. So it is not you who should decide, but it should be the God. The calling is important, the commitment is important, and God knows the best for every one of us. He chooses anyone irrespective of who we are. So let God choose and not we who decides who will go for theological studies, because your son and daughter will be the future spiritual leader for our Naga people. So we should be very careful about that. And coming to the third point, choosing a major paper. So we Nagas, we choose a major paper basing on the highest marks that we score in a particular subject, or maybe in terms of streams also. In class 10, if you score good in science or maths, then you think you're qualified for science or commerce, and you really pursue that because you don't know what to do. And especially when it comes to 12th standard students, especially when you score good marks in a particular subject, you decided to go for major paper. For general paper, I'm not talking about general paper, what you have done, or if you have decided to go for general paper, that's well and good, that's your decision, I respect. But for example, for me, when I was in 12th standard, I scored pretty well in English. So when I went for my bachelor studies, someone that I know whom I respect a lot asked me to go for a major paper in English, and unfortunately there was no one to explicitly guide me about this studies. So I said okay, and that's how I decided to take major paper. But today I realized that was the most foolish decision that I have ever made in my life. The first thing was I wasn't interested. The second thing was I wasn't scoring well. Of course, I never got backlog or back paper in my entire life, and I really like to thank God for that. But it was not good as that as my general paper. Though I was focusing more on my major paper, but I was scoring more in my general paper. So yeah, and the third thing was whatever I studied before during my major, I don't find it useful today because I cannot apply it in what I'm pursuing today. So I feel like that was a wastage of time. But I don't blame my professor, my lecturers. They were really amazing, they were very professional, and they were perfect. But it was just my fault. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you don't know the scope and the benefit of what you are taking or what you are pursuing, then stop. You should try to engage more in looking into the things than just what do you know or what people are just pursuing. Don't just follow what people are pursuing. You should have your own scope and look into the benefits of different streams that you are pursuing. And even if you don't score a good mark in a particular subject, but if that's your interest area and if you think that you can do it, then you can always strive for that instead of just going blindly. So the fourth thing is, it comes when the reason why we need a guidance. So the second and third, choosing a stream or choosing a major paper and ending up in the wrong direction, it was not only me. I have lots of my friends who have experienced that, like choosing a major paper and getting a backlog, and they have to now move to general paper and they have really struggled, and I have seen lots of people doing that. So it's really a wastage of time, and you become really discouraged about that. And that is how the fourth points comes here, that is neglecting career counseling. So what we Nagas, we are very good in making our own decision, but we really avoid or neglect career counseling or any consultation programs. So career counseling is not only to help you to choose the best university, but also it will broaden up your perspective, and it will help you to look into things and try to choose the field where your skills or interests can sink and suit the best. For example, why I'm saying this is because in the statistic of Nagaland higher education 2015 and 16, because that was what I have found, so we can see the arts student pursuing 40%, science is 16, engineer 15, and commerce 14%, IT 2%, law 1%, oriental learning 0.37%, and others 1%. And that clearly shows that we Nagas, we are just focusing around that field and not growing and not going beyond that. Maybe some does when it comes to others, but it's just one person. Just imagine. Apart from science, arts, commerce, and looking into just one thing and focusing, targeting just one thing, the reason why we need career counseling is to broaden up your perspective and to see things where you can suit the best. So I really appreciate those parents who are really taking help of career counseling for the children, but some they can't because of economical background. So at this juncture, we need the institute to come into role play. The institute can organize a program for the students for 10th and 12th standard, especially during their beginning of their term, so that they will able to digest what they learn. They will have ample of time to decide what you want to do and what is the interest area and what will be the best for them. So irrespective of their economical problem, all the children will get equal opportunity to decide about their future. Last thing, it's just a bonus, and that is to reflect on whatever I have discussed so far. So if we Nagas, my question is, if we Nagas, if we are pursuing career counseling, if we know lots of careers and fields, but if we are still not pursuing it, even though we know lots of different fields and careers, but if we are not following it, then there must be a reason, and it's quite questionable. Maybe our Nagaland government doesn't have enough job for those people in that particular area, and maybe that's the reason why Nagaland is not developing. Let me give you an example. For example, in the social welfare department, the best suited profession is for the social work postgraduate students or social work students. But instead of taking social work student in the social welfare department, if we focus on a candidate like from the English, from history, from political science, I think that's the biggest mistake that we are making. Because you know what a waste of time for the social worker to study tirelessly, to work in the field for months and months with a heart to come back and work for our Naga community, but at the end of the day they come back and end up jobless. See, for people like history, pol science, and then English, I'm not devaluing them here and not trying to be biased here. I know it's not their fault because maybe they don't have enough opportunity even in Nagaland jobs. So maybe that's the reason. So let's ponder about that, and let's try to learn from the mistake that we have made today, instead of just trying to follow whatever people is following. And if you think that I'm wrong, then kindly correct me by directly messaging me in my social media. The link will be given below, and or maybe you can comment down direct in the comment section, and I'll be coming up with a part 2 very soon. So if you have anything to say, or if you want me to add anything, then you are most welcome, and I really appreciate it. So till then, stay safe and care, and if you like this video, then kindly like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.